Welcome back to the channel. This is Scott K. Of all the videos I have put out until now, the one with the highest view count is actually this one. Yes, the video about the Silent Keyboard. I always thought you guys were watching my videos to make keyboard sound good. But nope, more people want me to be quiet, so I'm hurt. I'm just kidding. I get it, there are situations like in an office setting that you need something silent to keep things peaceful, right? But one thing about the previous video was that it was done with a group buy keyboard, the Windex 98, and a fairly involving process of creating the MX Silence. It's like Frankensteining two different switches to make a super quiet switch. A lot of viewers wanted to emulate it, but either they couldn't buy the keyboard or just didn't want to bother with the switches. So today I'm bringing you a video to achieve similar results, but much easier. One higher end with probably one of the most quiet off-the-shelf switches you can get, and one more accessible keyboard with more budget silent switches you can easily get. So let's get started. Alright, if you recall, there are probably two most important aspects of creating a silent keyboard. One is dampening inside the keyboard, and the second, which is actually the main, is the switch itself. Instead of regular MX style switches with hard plastic housings and hard stems colliding into each other and making noise, silent switches have silicone dampeners to, well, silence those collisions. So even the loudest sounding keyboard will become fairly silent once you drop in some silent switches. I mean, you can't really amplify something that doesn't exist, right? As mentioned before, we are going to be building one higher end, something that costs around $600 complete, which is actually this one, the KBDFans ODIN, and one more accessible, something that will cost around $120 complete, which is this one, the Keychron V5. Yes, I chose two 1800 size keyboards because, well, I figured these may be seeing more offices than gaming rooms, right? But you can do this well with any size from 60% all the way to full-size 104 keys. Plus, it doesn't have to be the KBDFans ODIN or the Keychron V5. Any keyboard can pretty much be the host, as long as it's hot swappable and uses standard MX style switches. Now, for the high-end build, I'm going to be using a set of Boba U4S Silent Tactiles. If you recall, I had the chance to try these out along with the bubblegum linears through the Milktooth home tester kit. So it's not as quiet in my opinion as the MX Silence, but pretty darn close without all the hassle of the MX Silence. The Boba U4S costs around 65 cents a piece though, so it's not the cheapest switch out there. Now for the accessible build, I'm going to be using these, the Keychron Silent K Pros. Why? Because they're 24 cents each, almost third of the price of the U4Ss. Plus, you can just add these into the cart along with your Keychron V5 order, so it just makes it super easy, right? They're comparable to something like Gateron Silent Reds or Cherry Silent Reds or something like that. Now, with both types of switches, you can always lube it and make it slightly more quiet, but that is totally up to you. For this exercise, I'm going to just keep them stock because we're trying to do this easy thing, right? Aren't you curious how these will turn out? Can the quick and dirty method beat the ultimate silent build of before? Well, we'll find out soon enough. But before we go into the build itself, let's go to a quick word from our sponsor, HelloFresh. So I have a pretty hectic lifestyle. I have a 9-to-5 job and I also create content in the evenings and the weekends, which means I don't really have much time to think too much about what I eat. So either I can do this, or I can rely on a service like HelloFresh to help me eat healthier and also track my food budget better. HelloFresh is an online meal kit delivery service that curates very delicious meals and delivers them directly to your door, which means less time grocery shopping for you. Once you select the type of food you like, the frequency of the delivery, and the number of people you want to feed, you'll have a box at your door with an easy-to-follow recipe and all of the ingredients perfectly portioned for you and your family. Then all you need to do is pretty much follow the easy guide, prep your ingredients, and cook yourself a healthy and delicious meal. I could actually do this by myself for 2 people, or more people, just split it up, the task with my wife just to make it easier as well. It's super easy to do, and you don't have to be a fancy chef or have a lot of equipment to make something like this. It's actually a surprisingly big portion too. HelloFresh is a service that I have been using for some years now, I really have been. and really helps me meal prep and really takes the stress out of meal planning. Plus, all the ingredients you receive from HelloFresh come straight from the farm to your door in like less than 7 days. That's pretty crazy, so it's pretty fresh. And so, go to HelloFresh.com and use the code Keyboard21 for 21 free meals plus free shipping. That's 21 free meals and free shipping. Once again, go to HelloFresh.com and use Keyboard21 for that great offer. With HelloFresh, eat well and save some money. Alright, let's start with the Odin build first, since the Odin actually needs to be built, right? So if you recall from my previous video, the Odin is KBDFans gasket mounted 1800 layout keyboard. Perfect for work. The Odin is in stock right now and it'll cost you around $400 or so for the entire kit. The version I have is the blue one, and I'll be using the PC plate as well to keep things sounding a little deeper and also more quiet. As before, I am also going to be using all of the foam that is provided so that it can help to dampen and minimize any of the energy created through typing. And since the Odin is a gasket mounted keyboard, the floating structure will definitely help to mute the sound even more as well. For stabilizers, I'll be using a set of Owlstabs, and I'll also be using the silencing pads as well as the silicone wire dampeners for that extra quiet effect. The overall build was pretty straightforward, and with everything installed, this is what it looks like. Now, I took the Boba U4S and dropped these in as well. Done, no problem. For keycaps, I decided to go with a set of DCX Olivetti to keep a nice and clean look. What do you think? It was pretty easy peasy, right? Speaking of easy now, the Keychron V5 is truly the easy mode. It actually comes fully built already. The easiest way to go about this is to purchase the fully assembled version for just $89, and then buy the silent switches as an extra for like 26 bucks for the entire jar. This will only cost you around $120 total, and you end up with like another set of red linear switches as a bonus if you want to use that in a future build or something like that. Truly easy. For this application, I did go ahead and properly tune the stabilizers to eliminate any potential ticks, and the V5 also comes pre-installed with internal silicone dampening as well as plate dampeners, so it has you covered in that department. Now, the switches. Like the Odin, the Keychron V5 is hot swappable, so I just drop these Keychron Silent K Pros in, no problem. I mean, you buy all of it at the same time, so it's also very convenient as well. For keycaps, the keyboard already comes with it, so you could always use that no problem. Now, the two silent builds are ready. As mentioned before, in total, the Odin comes out to be about like $600, and the V5 comes out to be like $120. So, is there a difference then between the high-end and the accessible in terms of creating a silent typing environment? Let's find out. In addition, I threw in the previous silent champ, the Wind X98 with the MX Silent as a reference point. Oh, and all you guys saying, bro, just buy a membrane keyboard, bro, it's more quiet, bro. I threw that in there as well so you can finally hear that no, it is not more quiet, not by a long shot. So please stop telling me the membrane keyboard is quiet. So what do you think? Did I finally prove to you that the membrane keyboard is not the most silent? Did you notice a difference in the volume between the higher end Odin with the more expensive Boba U4S and the more accessible Keychron V5 with the cheaper silence. And did you notice the difference between these two new builds and my previous ultimate quiet one with the MX silence? Let me know in the description below. Now, if you want a nice typing experience and want a nice mechanical keyboard but need to be silent as possible, I hope this video helps you achieve that. It doesn't have to be an expensive group buy board or crazy Frankenstein switches to make the most silent keyboard. You can do it with one of the off-the-shelf parts or keyboards. In addition, you don't have to buy the most expensive stuff to make it quiet either. You can do it with more modest budgets as well. So before I leave you guys, I did want to show you one more thing though. This thing. This is called a Kailh Midnight Pro Silent. What is the difference about this one? Well, these are supposed to be silent switches, but without that softer bottom out of standard silent switches where the silicone pad on the stem and it kind of feels a little bit squishy. Instead, the Kailh Midnight Pros have a silicone pad built into the housings itself. So while they're not as silent as can be, they provide a much more regular typing feel while still curbing the clicks and the clacks of the mechanical keyboard. So, you know what? Check this out. Alright, I hope that this video was helpful, and as always, if you want to check out any of these keyboards or components I have used in this video, please check out the description below for the links. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll have more content for you in the future. Thanks.